Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. Other half up in this piece. Sun in the form of their laced in space. I've never had this before. I had like an itty bitty version of it. It was like something small, small laced in space or something. Anyway, I reviewed like a low ABV version of this, and I didn't watch the review because I didn't want to taint my memories with ideas of the past. Sounds like a Coheed and Cambria album. Anyway, but I saw this on a shelf. I was in the mood for a double dry hopped Imperial India Pale Ale, which this is. So we're drinking it. What do they talk about? They talk about, and this is why I bought it actually, now I remember. Because hops, they list out all their hops on here. Other half does. They, talk about the beer and put all this information here. It's not that they put a gobs and gobs of stuff in IPA, but it's usually quite a bit more than just Citra, Galaxy, done. Usually it's like Citra, Citra Cryo, Galaxy, Galaxy Cryo, Galaxy Keef, Galaxy Dry Hop Gummy Keef, or something along those lines. So 2 ingredients hop-wise. It's 8.5%. It says, a hazy Imperial IPA brewed with hand-selected blend of hops giving notes of lychee, passion fruit, peach, and sweet orange. Hey, you got your Citra in my Galaxy, son. I've noticed as of late that these descriptions on other half's cans are starting to blend together. They're using the same verbiage, hand-selected blend of hops. A lot. There's a lot. To the point where they just say hops. It's on every can. Just observations. And we'll see where we're going. We'll talk about the date on the bottom. Should have probably shown you that first, but that's what you get. Let's rotate this where you can actually see the label a little bit. Maybe that'll help. That works. And we're talking about a date that is, it's less than a month old. You didn't want to know how I knew that right off the bat? It is a month. It'll be a month old my birthday, which is 2 days from now. I will post this on my birthday. This will be my birthday beer review. January 13th, canned December 13th. How about that? Anyway, I'm not going to lie to you. That's exactly how I like my big old Imperial Hazies to look. Just this rich apricot, peach, juicy looking. And it's like, it just has this look. And hopefully this comes off in camera. I know a lot of times it doesn't. I try to get my color correction as best I can. But a lot of times there's just an inherent density to it, to where the core of it becomes quite a bit darker. This actually kind of like gets darker. And it starts darker at the bottom and gets lighter towards the top. I don't know if that's just my brain making me want to believe that, but it just kind of looks that way to me, and it makes me think it's just a goddamn beautiful beer. That's probably what I'm seeing if I'm looking at my camera and representing it correctly. White as white could be, soft soapy edges, just that rich, dull, straight out of the can mixer juice you'd see at an old school bar with a little plastic pull tab. Man, juice. See what? Juice, son. Let's get a nose. I mean, it is a lot of tropical fruit. It is that passion fruit, that lychee. It is a lot of things they call in the can, which I think is kind of funny because a lot of times I think it's a whole bullshit. They're just throwing out fruits, the same name fruits, because you read it and then you think about it. But I think they're actually on to something here as far as their description, whether they mean it or not, or just use the same verbiage over and over again. Like I said, they've been using a lot in the cans. It is what it is, but it does have that big tropical fruit nose to it. Pineapple, big tropical fruit. You're getting your stone, you're getting your citrus in there. That's a gimme. The cool thing about this is there is this green component to it. It's not grassy, it's not scalliony, it's not garlicky. Maybe it is grassy is probably the best way I could describe it. It's a very slightly minty grassiness. That's the way the cream kind of comes off to me, and I just don't get that often. You're talking about 2 hops that in combination, I've gotten that profile before, but modern day not so much. So maybe this hand selected thing, maybe it's part of it. Maybe that's actually a thing. They hand selected these things that express green, and that's what they use in this. I don't know, but what I can tell you is it's running across the board fruity wise. Heavy tropical fruit leaning, pineapple, and everything underneath it is that green component that really does it for me. Honestly, gets me all hot and bothered. Let's dive in. Cheers, y'all. It's delicious. You know, man, and that ranky, it gets ranky in a good way. I'm not saying that in a negative way. A little mean mugging. Oh, like just like they played some Wu-Tang to this or something while I was in the fermenter. I just noticed they had, like, on the top of their barcode, and I was real dig it. They had their, like, little broccoli cheddar, kind of like a little mascotty people. I thought that was pretty cool. And you probably can't tell. I didn't talk about the label on this. It's actually one of my more favorite other half labels because there is geometric patterns on this, but they're very, very, very subtle. Like, you almost have to kind of look at it at a specific angle to catch them. So it's like it's laced in space, so it's their space diamonds, which I assume that's the base of the beer. And then it's laced, but it's a lowercase L and D, so the uppercase is ACE. So ACE. I don't know what that means. The other half junkies clue me in. And just for those playing along at home, only date in the bottom, doesn't tell you where it's from. Silver pull tab. Someone's out there making a spreadsheet of this stuff. Anyway, this is fantastic. You know, it's really been a revelation with other half and their hazies for me because it has been a roller coaster ride. You know, when I first saw other half IPAs, I thought they were quite tasty and quite fantastic, and it quickly went downhill for me. And then they made a kind of a resurgence, and they were kind of like really, really, really good hazy IPA. But over the past year and a half or so, oddly enough, when they've come to market a lot, come to shelfies a lot, because that's what these are. I'm picking these up off a shelf. I feel like they've gotten much more consistent and just much, I don't want to use the word better. The joke that everybody says about hazy IPA, I'm going to take another sip, is that it's basically the same beer over and over again with subtle variations, but just a different label. And while I believe that's true, and other half isn't immune to that, I feel like there's a decent distinctive difference between a large swath of their beers. Their hazy IPAs can run from one end to the other. And not even hazies, they're hazy New England style IPAs, which would qualify, at least in today's kind of world. This is going to be quite a bit different than the other one. Like, I just like the variety in it. I feel like there is a variety in it. I think that's one of the best parts about their beers is not just they're fantastic, and for me, they're at their peak of their game, but there also is a variation. Like, when I pick up this, I don't go, okay, I'm just going to get this beer just slightly different. I'm getting something with a decent amount of variation where it makes me a bit excited, which is kind of the fun part about beer. We love consistency. We love getting accuracy. We love when a beer is hyper consistent. But, variety, spice. The variety is the spice of life. And when it's good, it's good. It's even better when it's good and different. I'm rambling. Anyway, back to the beer. Yeah, mouthfeel is fantastic. It's not going to be confused with being a super huge, turbid, I'm combining words, beer, but at the same time, nice, dense mouthfeel for what you want from a hazy IPA. Sweetness, perfect. You're talking about something that it was 8.5 or 7.5. This is 8.5. For its ABV level, when it's supposed to be doing 8.5, perfect sweetness on it. It's a sweet, Sherlock. It's double IPA. It's supposed to be sweet, but it's not overly sweet. It's not cloying. It's not under attenuated for what it's supposed to be. In the hop side of things, it's really cool. It's playing in a lot of different angles in that fruit game. Like I said, a lot of different tropical fruits leaning into that pineapple, and then you get your always going to be there citrus and a nice dollop of that stone fruit, but it is the green portion of the show here, which I think is the coolest part of it for me, because it does come off as a slightly minty, slightly, I don't want to say medicinal, but there's just this cool kind of greenness to it that I don't get a lot from these specific hops that they've showcased here. And I applaud them. I tip my cap if I had one on. And just a really tasty double IPA. This is one of the better ones I've had as late. Yes. Mount Rushmore says. Yes. Value and availability, $20 flat. Their prices actually started going down, which is kind of crazy. I can get Forever and Ever, which for me is a staple hazy chugger. It used to be $14.99. It is now $13.99. So I dig that. So value, I mean, you talked to me a couple years ago, I go, it's still too pricey, but it's just the way the world is now, so I'm not going to get too hot and bothered about it. Off the shelf and leave you with, if you like what we like this, if you like Hazy Double IPA. End sentence. Done. Other half, you've been to their breweries, like all 47 of them. Have you been to the OG spots? Have you had their beers? Have you had this beer? Have you had that itty bitty one I reviewed previously? Have you had anything you'd like to talk about? Down there? We can talk about it. Go down there and talk. I'll respond, hopefully, because sometimes I'm lazy. Hopefully you enjoyed a review. Hopefully you're enjoying some good haze right now. We'll see you next time. Cheers, y'all.